A media is hitting a new low. They are hitting a new low. Again, this is very. It wasn't like times when there was speculation. It wasn't like Clark with. There's derangement. There is media derangement when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And it's like, there are some official death toll estimates not released yet. She went back to Des Moines, Iowa. BS Caitlin Clark Foundation was hosting an event. USA that appears. And this is a serious publication. Like, let's be very clear. And if you look at the history of a lot of the women's writers there, when you very clearly, which seems to be happening to all the sports writers.
Right out of the gate, the claim is that WNBA media is hitting a new low, and that this is genuinely different from the last bad thing USA Today wrote about Caitlin Clark. That's a big claim to open on, but given the outlet's track record with her this exact week, it's worth taking seriously rather than dismissing as just another hot take. Let's actually walk through what happened before deciding if that reaction is earned.
And this entire thing is just horrendous. Everything when it comes to this network. And by the way, nobody will ever take anything USA Today say seriously after this. Like, she skipped it opting to get her hair done.
And credit where it's due. He actually owns being wrong about his own earlier speculation on why Clark skipped the event. That's a genuinely good habit in sports commentary that doesn't happen enough. Correcting yourself in real time instead of doubling down. It sets up the actual complaint here cleanly. Which isn't about him, it's about what a national outlet published without doing the same basic diligence.
And this entire thing is just horrendous. Everything when it comes to this network. And by the way, nobody will ever take anything USA Today say seriously after this. Like, she skipped it opting to get her hair done.
The point that it wasn't even that big a deal in the first place is fair too. Somewhere around 21 to 23 All-Stars weren't at the orange carpet either, so singling out one specific absence for a headline was already a choice, regardless of the reason behind it. My take: that selective framing is exactly the kind of thing that turns a nothing story into a controversy, and it's worth remembering before we even get to the factual problem with the report itself.
And this entire thing is just horrendous. Everything when it comes to this network. And by the way, nobody will ever take anything USA Today say seriously after this. Like, she skipped it opting to get her hair done.
And here's the actual issue. USA Today posted that Clark skipped the orange carpet to get her hair done. Full stop, no context. That headline was published, went viral, and only got a clarification hours later saying she'd actually been hosting an event for her own charitable foundation. My honest opinion, publishing an unverified, mildly insulting explanation for a public figure's absence, when a 5-minute check could have caught it, is a real, avoidable failure, not a minor slip.
If that was the case, that being said, even if that was the case, it doesn't matter. Everyone can choose they want to. It's not like she was the only person not on the orange carpet. It's not like 21 or 23 All-Stars were there, and, like, again, not only Caitlin not being the one person or that was a big event. No. It genuinely wasn't. So basically,
the distinction being drawn here is actually a sharp one. If the headline had simply said she was spotted in Iowa and let people speculate on why, that's fair game. That's just reporting what's visible and letting readers draw their own conclusions. But stating a specific, unverified reason as fact is a completely different level of journalism, and conflating the two is exactly how outlets end up issuing corrections instead of just reporting accurately the first time.
So, the USA Today, Caitlin Clark skipped the orange carpet, opting to get her hair done in Iowa. Look, I'll put my hand up and say this. I was absolutely wrong. I was absolutely wrong with saying like, oh, she just chose not to go to the orange carpet, so that she could go back to Iowa and spend time with her family. I was wrong about that, and I will put my hand up and apologize.
And the timing makes it worse, not better. This was posted well after the charity event had already happened and wrapped up. This wasn't a case of reporting in the moment before all the facts were in. The actual reason was fully knowable before the story ever went out. That's the difference between an honest mistake and an avoidable one. And from an outlet with USA Today's resources, that gap is hard to excuse.
So the WNBA media is hitting a new low. They are hitting a new low. Again, this is very, very different than, this is just so bad. It's just so bad. It's very different than the last thing USA Today said about Caitlin Clark, which was awful.
So when the take here is this network is done, nothing they write about women's basketball or Caitlin Clark will ever be taken seriously again. That's strong, but it's not coming from nowhere. Trust in a specific beat gets burned by specific, repeated failures on that beat, and outlets absolutely can talk their way into that kind of skepticism from their own audience.
Instead, I'm sorry. If you say she skipped, if you literally say this, skipped orange carpet after being spotted in Iowa, then that's fine. You can speculate for whatever reasons. But the title is especially, again.
The bigger claim, that on a human level, this outlet has failed Caitlin Clark over these past few days, separate from any journalism or sports argument, is really the emotional core of this whole video. Whatever you think about the specific wording, the underlying point is that repeatedly publishing unflattering, unverified framing about one specific athlete starts to look less like coincidence and more like a pattern, and that pattern is worth naming directly instead of tiptoeing around.
They have failed Caitlin Clark. These people writing these stories on a human level have failed another human. They fail to be a decent human because they're completely deranged. There is complete derangement over one human being for them. And it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate.
This next point is genuinely one of the more interesting cultural observations in the whole video. That criticizing Caitlin Clark has, for some corners of the internet, become treated as a kind of social signal rather than an actual basketball opinion. That's a real phenomenon worth sitting with. When disliking one specific athlete gets treated as a value statement instead of a sports take, the coverage of that athlete stops being about basketball at all, and that's a legitimate media criticism regardless of your personal opinion of Clark herself.
On a human level, the USA Today has failed Caitlin Clark over the last 3 days. Not in a journalist level, not on a sporting level, on a human level.
The reaction from critics online was brutal, and honestly, kind of funny. One tweet joked she's going to get someone killed, going to USA Today, but at least her hair will look amazing when she does it. That's obviously satire, but it lands because it's pointing at something real. An outlet that had just drawn serious backlash for one inflammatory comparison, immediately following it up with an unverified, borderline petty headline about a hair appointment. The joke writes itself, because the pattern is genuinely there.
I'm going to be real, that all happens. We all have our views of the world. We all have ways we lean, whether that be politically or socially. We all have our own thoughts based on our experiences, based on how we were raised and our experiences. We all are different human beings, and we all, and everyone has the right to.
And this next observation deserves real scrutiny too. The claim that a chunk of the WNBA beat at this outlet skews heavily towards social commentary over basketball coverage. That's a legitimate media criticism worth engaging seriously. Readers coming for game analysis and instead consistently getting op-ed style framing is a real complaint across sports journalism generally, not something unique to this one athlete or outlet, even if this video is focused specifically here.
Say what they want, but when you very clearly, which seems to be happening to all the sports writers that covered WNBA at USA Today, when you very clearly don't care about the basketball side of it and you only care about the social justice side of it, and you found your victim and you want to just go at that person and at that person and at that person, like, you're not going to get away with that. You can't get away with that anymore.
And the closing argument lands hardest here. When a beat clearly cares more about the social narrative than the actual basketball, and keeps returning to the same athlete as the focal point of that narrative, audiences notice, and increasingly, they push back on it publicly instead of just quietly changing the channel. Whether or not you think it's not 2020 anymore is the right framing, the underlying point about accountability for sports journalists writing about real people is a fair one to make.
Some official death toll estimate's not released yet. She went back to Des Moines, Iowa. BS Caitlin Clark Foundation was hosting an event. USA is having a week. Check out these two tweets. She's going to get someone killed according to USA Today, but her hair will look amazing when she does it. Like, my joke is that, like, what are they? I'm surprised they didn't come out and say, by posting a picture of her getting her hair done, she may end up being responsible for the death of a bald person.